Ether Spike. A blue and 1 instant. Choose target spell. You get 2 energies. Then you may pay any amount of energy. Counter that spell unless it's controlled. Pay 1 for each energy paid this way. I mean, technically it can gain you energy. And it's easier to cast than a counter spell. Alright, let's move on. Amphibian Downpour. I've had people mention that card a few times. Aura, a blue and 2. Flash, Storm. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a blue frog creature with base power and toughness 1. So you're playing a control deck, they play a spell, you flash that in, you get their 2 creatures. Seems kind of good, but so weird. Such a weird card. Good if you have use for the tokens. Oh, you mean permanents? You get extra permanents in play? What would you use them for? Is there anything obvious? The City's Blessing, nice. Yeah, no, I agree, Cosmo. Even if you deal with them, you still have to deal with the 1/1s, and it's free mana. It is good against counterspells, though. Doesn't work very well against Murktides. Wrath? Yeah, but it could be like in a creature deck. Like you could have it in the sideboard of your Merfolk deck, maybe. No? Could be a good sideboard card. Free CMC a Living End can play it. Yeah. Voidwalker. Enchantress. Yeah. Voidwalker, Enchantress. Seems like somewhat good against Eldrazi. They pay so much mana and devotion. Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird cards. I guess I'll give it a 4 out of 10 because we're like struggling to like really. No one has like super sold me, but there are some like potential. Alright, best card in the set. Brain Surge, 10 out of 10. Next. Alright, so would Living End play that card? Would like Creativity play that card? Would Omnath play 1 or 2? You draw so many lands in the mid game. Brain Church plus Calibrated Blast. Like, is any blue deck with fetch lands going to want to play at least 1 or 2 copies? Maybe Miracles obviously like could be good again, but it's kind of a stretch. Miracles with Saga and Brainstorm. That sounds atrocious. It's rougher against Bowmasters. Well, yes and no. Because if you Brain Search end of their turn and they Bowmaster, okay, you take 4 damage. But then if you untap in Terminus, it's probably not even worth it. You know, if I'm playing against Yogg and they play Bowmaster in response and I get to kill it, I'm happy I traded the 4 damage and it cost them a card and mana. I mean, later in the game you might get locked though, where we're not able to kill their Bowmasters, you know, sure, but would be bad in Titan. Titan's going to struggle to cast it. Alright, realistically, I'm gonna give it a 6. It's probably like closer to a 5, but maybe even lower, but I'm gonna give it a 6. Consigned to Memory, blue. Counter target triggered ability or colorless spell or replicate 1. So that's a anti-Eldrazi card they gave us. Triggered ability though. Doesn't counter a fetch land, right? That's activated ability. So definitely not a main deck card, right? Should we give it a 7? Just important sideboard card. Counter target. Counters Ring. Just counters the One Ring for 1 mana. Counters Lotus Field. Counters your own Lotus Field. It's kind of nice. It's 1 mana Stifle for Lotus Field. It's a Stifle for Lotus Field. I think it's a main deck card. If wow, that was a fast game of wall. Did you win at least? Is there? Oh, you can counter your ring trigger to gain some life. Is there triggers you want to get rid of besides Lotus Field? This is just upgraded Ceremonious. I believe so. I believe Ceremonious is 1 blue counter target colorless spell. You won, easy. You can counter your Evoke Sacrifice. Okay. Grief Evoke, Scam cards, Elemental, Strong, counters. Alright, should we give it, what, an 8? Like, potentially top tier sideboard card plus maybe even main deck applications? 8, okay. Copy Croak. Does that card do something that's anything special that didn't exist before? The Copy Croak? It's not Stifle. Yeah, I mean Stifle on Lotus Field. Yeah, I think 8 for like top tier sideboard card is fine. Obviously, if the Eldrazi deck ends up sucking, then that card might not see a ton of play. What did we give Terrible Rep? I gave it a 6. Demon Fear is just limited card, right? I haven't seen that card yet. Dreamtide Whale. 7/5 for free whale, vanishing 2. Enters with 2 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter from it. When the last is removed, sack it. So you played Vanish, it gets to attack once, Vanish dies. Whenever a player casts their second spell, each turn proliferate. Oh, so you can keep it in play. 7/5 for free mana. Seems somewhat trivial to keep it in play, right? Yeah, I know it's not just you. I can read. How do you use the proliferate? Planeswalkers. Murktide makes your Murktide bigger. Energy. It's only once a turn, though. It does hit hard. Could it be a sideboard card? Switcheroo? Kind of like trying to dodge hate. In, I don't know, in some of the combo decks. Good was Unearth. I kind of give it a 6. I feel like it could just be like win con for some decks. Just it kills in 3 hits. It's like, I don't know, maybe a 5. Is 5 reasonable? It might never see play. 2 mana card, you're absolutely insane. I think if this was a 2 mana card, you'd have no reason not to play like a blue deck, like a blue tempo deck based around it. You've lost your mind. I don't know, maybe playing 2 spells is... Block was Young Wolf. I mean, sure, if you're chum blocking with your Young Wolf in your Yogg deck on like turn 3, it's... I don't know. Is that card playable? 2/1 for 2, devoid, Eldrazi Fairy Rogue, flying. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, get a mana. Create an Eldrazi token. Messenger, yeah, but it's blue, you can't play it on turn 1. Probably next. Alright, next, one of the 5 cards our Lord and Savior Spike had in his broken tier. Flare of Denial. It's like one of the cards I disagreed was in his broken tier. But he did say it doesn't go in decks that exist, but it might be a build around. It might be worth building your deck around it. I still think it's a bit of a stretch, but like it's tough. Paying 3 mana for a counter is not the end of the world, but it's not very good. Does it go directly into Merfolk? I don't think so. Merfolk doesn't even play the Adept anymore because of Bowmaster and Ren. You're not like, I mean, Merfolk has no card advantage. It has the free 4. Ray can help you protect the free 4 and snowball this way. Good was Tameo, yeah, but there's so few good. There's like pretty much no good blue 1 mana creatures in Modern. Tameo might be the one. Sea Plane Affinity over Rebuke? I don't think so. I think it pairs well with Psychic Frog if you can find enough cheap characters to stack it. Yeah, maybe more in a deck like that. I could see that. Just protect the Queen, just protect your Frog, protect your Merfolk Lord, the free 4 that draws card, protect a card like that. Maybe even protect like a Bronco or Delver. I mean, Delver, it's not a good creature. I mean, it's a fine creature, but also Delver usually doesn't play a ton of creatures. Whether you're going to sack your 1 creature and then not pressure them. Fairy Miscreant. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're going to do great. What format? It's for Modern. It's called Modern Horizon 3. It's cards that are... It's a set designed for Modern, with Modern in mind. So it's not standard. It goes straight into Modern, Legacy, and Vintage, basically, and Commander. Yeah, I don't know, the Narcomoeba arguments, like you're diluting your Dredge deck, and you need to like... It means you already got your engine going if you have a Narcomoeba in play. I mean, you might be desperate enough that it's like a sideboard card. It could be a good sideboard card, I don't know. Snapcaster Spellcutter? I mean, these are not good Modern cards, though. It's usually not a good idea to play bad cards to make your other cards less bad. Snappy is good, it literally sees no play. I'm gonna give it a 7. But maybe that's below when we give, like, I don't know. There's Philology Archaeologist. I'll give it a 7.5. Escupo? Never know how to see her name. Escupo, thank you for the 4 months. I mean, people have mentioned the Snap and all these things, but I feel like that card's good if you're, like, tapping out aggressively and curving out and trying to out-tempo people. If you're just sitting there doing nothing, cool, you counter the spell for free and lost your only creature that was pressuring them. Like, big deal. Charlotte's is a cool one. I feel like Charlotte's Agent's a good combo. Maybe you're playing like a beat-down-ish deck with Charlotte's in it, but like you need permanence, you need to be pressuring them, you need to abuse the fact that you're casting like... Dynamo says, I don't know how this creates a mana advantage if you have to sacrifice something that costs mana. Like you will be down 2 cards and whatever you spend to cast the creature. Sack your crabs on the spell really matters. I don't think the mill deck... It's not helping you be more consistent. It's helping you, it's like kind of win more. You already have crabs, you're already doing fine, you can afford to like... I don't know, I don't see it. Yeah, you at least need Adept in your Merfolk deck to make that better. It's awkward that Charlotte doesn't protect the spell it cascades into. Yeah, but it's not the point. You're not playing it in like Living End. I mean, you can, but that was not the idea. The idea was just you need to abuse like just Charlotte's good because you get another permanent to pressure them, and then you can potentially sack the Charlotte's that's just 2/2, and you still like. Is this standard legal? No. None of these cards are standard legal. Like Philology, Toad, and Steam Core. Yeah, I mean, it's cute, but... Yeah, I mean, at least all these cards are, like, drawing you cards. Calling Oracle. Yeah, but you're still paying 2 mana. I don't know. Alright, I talked myself putting that card down to a 7. I think this is a card that's, like, overrated the most. I guess we'll see. Oh, Spiteless Siren. Well, I'm really excited to... it could be good. It could be good in an Urza deck. We're talking about it. You play the Siren, you play Urza. I forget what all other cards we were talking about. And then you have extra mana from Urza, so you can actually like ping 3 mana for counters not the end of the world. Oh yeah, we're saying Tamio and Sirens into Urza. Alright, Harbinger of the Seas. That card is terrifying to me. I mean, Merfolk is already like pretty decent. It gets yet another like absolute banger. I'm assuming the Merfolk deck struggled a bit with Urza Saga, like just removal into Urza Saga was probably not easy for Merfolk to deal with. People are talking about comboing that card with Boil, playing like blue-red with no islands. That card's really, really scary. It is a Merfolk, it is a wizard. Magus of the Moon was already a wizard. And this is good because, like, it's better in Murktide, right? And I guess you don't have Mountain in Murktide. You don't want to play basic Mountain. So that's kind of awkward. I was going to say it's better because a lot of your spells are double blue. Also, I'm assuming Merfolk was probably just bad against the big mana decks. Maybe it wasn't. Do you really need to boil? I mean, it's nice. Then you could also like have games where you just draw Boil alone. And you get like 4 mana double Stonering at instant speed or something.
From the ghastly Eyrie, I can see to the ends of the world, and from this vantage point, I declare with utter certainty that this one is in the bag.
I'm gonna give that card an 8 out of 10, if that's okay with people. That card just seems like just really impactful card, and you gotta play a basic Mountain in your sideboard too if you want to play it in Murktide or something. Is a card getting 10? I mean, I don't think you give any card a 10 really, ever, but I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter, I guess. Alright. Yeah, please mention card when we get to them, Voxy and everyone else, just easier. Force back on a 2/2 and I skipped it. Yeah, I guess fetch lands could be 10s. Alright, is that card playable at all? 3 mana, Devoid. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4, 5, 6. Create 2 colorless Eldrazi. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw 3. Kind of nice value engine. Someone was saying that blue-green Eldrazi could be better than Eldrazi Tron. Good was Mere Enforcer. That card's kind of scary. This one is Eldrazi Beanstalk. 3 mana. I mean, you trigger it once, you kind of got your mana back. Your investment back. You trigger it twice or more, it's just gravy. Could be a sideboard card too, maybe, for some slower matchups or decks that can't really get rid of it. Play 1 mana flank 2/2 to draw 5 with Thought Monitor, yeah. Sounds like people are more excited about it in Affinity than in Eldrazi, which could be the case, yeah. It's nice that it's like an engine card that doesn't die to an artifact removal. I guess it still dies to Force of Vigor, actually. I don't know. Force of Vigor means that card can probably never be great in Affinity. Or it's like medical and you hope people are hating on other decks. Not that it was Delve. Yeah, but it's only creatures, not spells. Alright, what would you give it? A 5? A 6? A 5 maybe? I'm not a huge believer, but like people are hyped enough about it. Alright, roll the character Gruffer for limited. 2 mana, 1 free landfall. Get an energy, tap, pay 6 energy, draw 3 cards. I don't know, seems good. 6, I think. I can see it being an engine card. Yeah, but it's like, it's a pretty big build around. Yeah, we're not doing limited though. Draw a card and scry 2. Does that card do anything? I still don't know what it does. 6 mana enchant player. At the beginning of enchanted player's post-combat main phase, there's an additional beginning phase after this phase. The end step happens after the added untap, upkeep, and draw steps. This is like a time walk. You get an extra turn every turn. I don't even get it. Wait, is the 3 mana 2/2 flying force spike constructed playable? People like that card? It's not even an artifact. It's an Eldrazi? Yeah.
Yellowhat Pigeon Ivory Tower Report. MH3
It's a cast trigger? What does the cast trigger have anything to do with it?
How could they do this to us Yellowhat Pigeons?
Hey Tulio, Flare of Deny is a 10 easily. It will make Merfolk great, but not in the Vial version. This card is in for Collected Company. I guess the modern deck that relies on a 4 mana spell to get it going. Yes. That sounds like it makes Flare a 10 out of 10. Surely. I'm still not buying, but welcome to the chat. Padital. We sold it to you. 85. The tracker. The lonesome tracker. You don't get a second turn because it happens just before your end step. I mean, you spend 6 mana, then immediately on tap, which is kind of neat. It's like a Wilderness Reclamation that draws a card. Alright, should we rate it? Just skip. Alright, Strix Serenades. 1 blue, instant counter target artifact, creature, or planeswalker spell. So most of spells that are cast in Modern, really. A controller creates a 2/2 bluebird creature token with flying. A Legacy, Oath of Druid. Yeah, I mean, Swan Song doesn't see play. I'm not sure why this one would see play either. The E-Tron deck? I mean, E-Tron was, like, playable. Maybe it just needed an extra broken land. I mean, it's not like you're only playing 7 mana cards. You're playing... I don't know. Maybe it'll be good in other decks. Maybe it'll be good in, like, some other weird decks. Casting Rings on turn 2. Turn 3 ring, I don't know. Does that card do anything until your next turn? Whatever, terrible. Discard any number of cards and investigate twice for each card discarded this way. I'm gonna say it's good in the Glimpse deck, but it's a 2 mana card. Shuffle up to 3 target cards from your graveyard into your library. Hey Colligon, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Welcome to the wonderful world of watching my stream with no ads. Which is probably why you sub, but appreciate it. I mean, I guess maybe you just played blue-green to go back to your point of Ugin's Labyrinth, right? You just played blue-green was for Null Drifter, and then it lets you go turn 2 pretty reliably, turn 2, draw 2. I don't know, it feels like there's going to be a reasonable build of the deck. The Saga seems good, was Urza and Manufacturers. Is that good enough though? Because the card really does nothing, right? It's just an enabler. Seems bad. Alright, tune the narrative. We haven't gone through all the energy cards. Maybe we should rate it at the end. I mean, I'm sure some people have an idea already, but I need to kind of wrap my head around all the energy cards first. Solid 7 or 8. Is energy good? If so, yeah, but that's the trick question, right? It does seem kind of important if you're playing energy. But like that Wrath of the Skies card could be okay on its own almost. This one is obviously not okay on its own. Let's give it a 5 for now, and we can come back. Ugin's Binding. 3 mana instant devoid. Return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. Doesn't draw you a card. Whenever you cast a colorless spell with mana value 7 or greater, you may exile it from a graveyard. When you do, return each non-land turn you don't. So that works with the Evoke. That works with Non-Drifter. Even if you evoke it. What about Binding Enlist with a new Miracle that has multiple discard outlets? Oh, it could work in Affinity too. Discard it. How do you discard it though? Isn't discard broken? I mean, bouncing non-land permanents, there's some matchups where it doesn't even do that much. And the free mana effect is atrocious. Could be more of a sideboard card. Kind of hard to build around. How do you discard in your Eldrazi deck or in your Affinity deck? Also pretty hard to trigger at instant speed. Kind of effect you would want to be able to trigger at instant speed. Or should we give it a 4 or 5? Yeah, it's true. You can just cast it on turn 2 on like literally whatever. It shells in your graveyard, you bounce. A 6? Cookbook was the new Emrakul. Yeah, it's good with Cookbook. Okay. And it's a mace, so you don't have to do it the first time. Alright, I'll give it a 6 for now. Could be decent. Oh, we never rated the Drake. The Hope Ender Coddle. Does this get rated? It is going to be annoying if Eldrazi says go with free mana up on turn 2, and what are we going to do? Like, not play on curve? So high on this card. Alright, let's... Hope Ender Coddle. I'll give it a 5.5. Free mana is a lot for a mana spike, for a force spike. Well, luckily for us, we get a 2/2 flying with it. They just... on the house. Chatting. Classic chatting. Is this the equivalent of a strawman? A magic strawman argument? The Spellcrawlers he played, no, but Spellcrawler can't really cast it on turn 2, and this is potentially better than... when are you like free mana up with Eldrazi? I don't know, on turn 2, turn 3. And then if they don't do anything, you still play it. And it means they didn't do anything? I don't know. Alright, Volatile Stonedrake. 2 mana Drake, free 2, flying hexproof from activated and triggered abilities. Whatever that does, I guess, Grist and Yogg. When Volatile Stormdrake enters a battlefield, exchange control of it and target creature and opponent controls. If you do, you get 4 energy, then sacrifice that creature unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value. So you at least kill it, worst case, like even if you don't have the energy? Or does it do nothing if you don't have the energy, it just dies? Pro Solitude, Pro Binding. Pro Tidebinder. To get the Drake and you sack their creature. Yeah, so you can't just bounce it to your hand with Teferi, but you can still bounce it with Bounce Spells. It gets blocked by Endurance. Could just be a good anti-Yacht card, you know, just free to flyer, hits pretty hard, doesn't die to Grist, doesn't die to Yogg. And then once in a while you trade it for something good. I mean, you can trade it for an Omnath, you can trade it for... You can trade it for a Shelly. You can trade it for a Dryad. Still kind of a weird card. I should give it like a 4. Or do we have Stormdrake Believers in chat? I'm gonna give it a 4 for now, but could be good. Could just be a solid card. Also in actual energy decks, I mean, you could just steal 7 drops, right? Seems unplayable. I mean, it's not that hard to steal an Eldrazi if you're playing the blue cantrip and other cards. Seems unplayable. The new Hogak. You trade it for Omnath and then they bounce Omnath with Teferi. Alright, I'm gonna give it a 4, which is like, you know, pretty bad, but... When a Curse Murder enters a battlefield, each player sacrifices a non-token creature, 2-1 for 2.